I've had some close calls for sure, especially going to DC. You know.
Oh yeah.
I really like driving on 81 because then like it's just so easy to pull off the side of the road.
Quiet. Nobody's
and
going.
But then like a tractor trailer will go by, and as you're peeing, it's like,
The whole
yeah, the whole
Everything
ground
shakes.
shakes.
I mean, they pass you in your car.
Like, Jesus
and
is
you're just
coming back.
Yeah.
That's fun.
You know, I went to Washington Lee, so I spent a lot of time on 81.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Good old Lexington.
Yep, good old Lexington.
You're recording on everything?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, are you starting which openings or you're just going into...
Just going. Yeah. All right, cool. So we're good. We're going. So Josh, I don't know if you know this about Ken. Did you know he's really into serial killers?
I did not know that.
Again with this.
Something you learn. Something you learn every
He's
day.
massively in. Look at him and his 70s pornography mustache you got going on there.
You know, I will say with the mustache, like it's at least for me, it's important to have that gap between the end of your nose and the start of the stash.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah. See what I
Really?
see what I was meaning about
Work on that.
not affiliated with work.
Right. We jumped right in.
He loves to throw me for a loop.
Fastball right away.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because I know nothing about serial killers, and he was like mentioning like very specific ones, like some those brothers.
That's not what Victoria was telling me. She says you got like a shrine.
I don't know about all that.
So Tommy has the serial killer problem,
Yes.
but he's pushing it off on
He
you.
does, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm f***ed up. That's not. I don't know. If you join this, you're getting like, oh, that guy. You're like, he seems together. Nope.
No.
But we are as a nation too, right? Like we love real crime.
There's something.
I mean, not,
crazy about that.
yeah. I mean, the fact that there's 20, 30 real crime shows, it's crazy.
Yep. You know, I mean, we're recording a podcast here, and just the sheer amount of true crime podcasts there are out there is like,
It's amazing.
oh my
Yeah.
lord.
Are you from Maryland?
I am.
Okay. Is there
Born and
any?
raised.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any like quintessential claim to fame serial killer there?
I think that not serial killer, but one of the first podcasts or the first podcast I knew about was Serial.
Like the food?
No, it was Serial. And it was a Howard County murder.
Huh.
Oh man.
So
Interesting.
a guy murdered, or maybe not, murdered his high school girlfriend in Howard County and then appealed and it went back and forth and it was a big deal. Yeah, look it up. Serial the
yeah.
podcast.
And
yeah.
so along that note, I don't know what high school this is, but the school that Victoria went to, my wife Victoria, it's closed down now. It was a private Catholic school, but like back in the 70s or something, there was a murder. Like one of the nuns got murdered there or something. And there's like a Netflix show about it or something.
That's in Baltimore. Is she from Baltimore?
Yeah. I forget what the name of that school
Oh my
was.
gosh, I forget too. But yeah, a Catholic school that's no longer.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
abuse and just terrible.
That would have been kind of wild if they kept it open after that. Like, well, it's not going to happen again.
Well, no. That's the thing. The school was open. Like the murder was in the 70s. The school didn't close until 2010 ish.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
And it didn't close down because of the murder. It closed down because of attendance, I want to say.
They're
Or
like,
something.
Right.
They're
There
like,
has been some consolidation in schools,
yeah.
I think, in Catholic schools.
they're like, I guess our mascot can no longer be the stabbing nun. We'll have to switch it up a little bit.
One of the sisters was murdered, and I think she was trying to help these girls that were being abused.
Oh, jeez.
And then she disappeared,
Yep.
and it became this Netflix phenomenon.
Whole Netflix
Yeah.
series.
Ugh, I regret my joke already.
Yeah, yeah.
This is awful. This is
Brings
an
a
awful
whole
way to
new
start
meaning.
off
Yeah,
season
bring it back.
2.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole new meaning to Bloody Mary. huh?
Do you have any serial killers? Legends, Jesus. Do you have any serial killer people where you're from?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty dark one, but yeah. There's a road called Crawford Road, and it's like adjacent to the Yorktown battlefields, where America became America. We beat the British there. It's got a claim to fame. Just a quick aside: when I go over to the UK and people ask me where I'm from, I always say, "Oh, I'm from Yorktown, Virginia." Have you ever heard of that?
Wow.
British people don't like that joke. But yeah, no. So there's a person who is posing as an undercover police officer, pulling people over on this road, and would murder them and then dump their cars into the York River. And Yeah, it was a whole.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
this weird thing. But yeah, and then Crawford Road's allegedly all, what is it, haunted now, and I don't know. I used to run back there, and it's pretty creepy.
Really?
Early in the morning, it's pretty creepy.
Tempting the
Wow.
devil.
Yeah, I know, right?
It'll never happen again.
Yeah, there's a bridge that goes over it on the Yorktown battlefields, and yeah, when you're running over that bridge alone, like pretty early in the morning, you get goosebumps.
Oh, really?
You know, it's,
Wow.
it's
Oh,
pretty
wow.
crazy, but-
Where-
So much history in that area, though.
yeah,
you
I
know?
absolutely love it too, and being able to run through it, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Gotta love it.
Where I'm from upstate New York, in like middle of nowhere.
Right.
There was one killer. Last name is Garrow, I think Garrow. There's like a Netflix thing about him, and there was a movie made. The town, we have like a small little independent movie theater. Like I feel like the town still shows it like every other month because they're like, this is the most
the
famous
only-
person we've got.
It's the only claim
Wow.
to fame.
I know.
Yeah, that's
It-
a town's claim to fame.
Yeah,
It's not that positive, right?
There's 3 people from my town, and it's saying a lot because it's the middle of nowhere. There's that guy. There's Nickelodeon's Pick Boy. I don't know if you know. Okay, yeah, that was a thing when I was a kid. But him and I went to the same high school. And then there's a third person that I don't know if I should say, but she was. Remember the whole Tiger Woods scandal?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So she was one of the people that
She was
got to be.
close to Tiger.
Yes,
Yes.
she was very close to Tiger.
You could say
In the same room.
She was in the den.
Yeah.
You could say.
We where I grew up is well known for
That was funny.
where I grew up is more well known for athletes, less murderers than more athletes.
That's a good thing.
That's good.
You know, yeah,
Athletes is a
yeah,
good
I
thing.
mean, Allen Iverson, went to high school in Hampton, Virginia. It's Bethel High School, and let's see. I mean, maybe not as positive as Allen Iverson, but the Vick brothers, they're from Newport News. They went to high school in the same district of my high school, and then of course my buddy Gerard Mayo, who's the head coach of the New England Patriots right now, he went to high school with me. He was a senior when I was a freshman.
Isn't he the former head coach of the New England Patriots?
Oh, if that's news to me, if
So much bigger hockey fan than NFL fan.
without a doubt.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because your
I can tell
information's
you-
lagging a
yeah.
little bit on the NFL.
I can tell you Ovechkin's goals to date, but I can't tell you if Mayo is still the head coach over at the
Gotcha. And Baltimore hockey, like I got
Yeah,
nothing. We used to have, a minor league team. We used to have the Skipjacks a long time ago. Now we have nothing. But I think a lot of young people like to play.
They do. Yeah, and it's really cool because at the Caps games, during the first intermission, they have they call it Mites on Ice, and it'll be like a hockey club from Baltimore or Montgomery County, and those kids are playing like a scrimmage match on the ice, and it's super cool to see those kids.
It was always a tough sport when I was young.
Yeah.
To get ice time.
Exactly.
When I was growing up,
Yep.
these kids were playing at 10 o'clock at night on Sunday. My parents, there was no way they were going to do that, right? Drive to Northern Virginia
to play hockey.
and I'm going to be cold watching you? No way. No way. On the darker side of things,
Oh, I like it. Let's do that. I don't know. So just so
I hesitate to bring this up.
We started as serial killers, and you're going
Right.
darker.
Not darker than serial killer, but recent and dark.
Okay.
So, Luigi Mangione,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That
Oh
guy.
wow. This is a controversial podcast we're doing today.
he went to my beloved high school.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
Rats.
Gilman School in Baltimore,
Yeah.
where I went, my son went, my cousin went, my wife taught there.
Yeah.
It's a great place. It did a lot for me. But
You went down a different path though.
yeah.
Clearly.
And it's one of these things like where how a lot of bad things happen and you look at that person and you're like, I knew them when they were younger
right.
and I could see signs.
Mhm.
Or at least people like to say they could see signs.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid who I did not know. But valedictorian. I mean, knocking the cover off the ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should be
And
the
then
model
something
citizen.
goes haywire.
Right.
And it's hard to explain. And it's sad for everybody involved.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me is, doesn't the media love to tear down a prep school?
Immediately.
Like he graduated from a prep school, and then he went on to college and professional life and that kind of thing. CNN above Gilman School, the Daily Show talking about the Gilman School,
yeah.
not about college or what he did afterwards, but like high school.
Yep.
Oh I think it's salacious because he was valedictorian. So it's like if he was me, they'd be like, that guy's an idiot.
Valedictorian. Yeah. Affluent.
Yeah.
Some kind of affluence, right? Maybe it made it interesting for people, but gosh, it's so sad.
Wow, that's wild. So you didn't know his family or any?
The family, it's a very prominent family. I did not know anybody in that family, but everybody in that area knows that name. It's a prominent, sort of real estate family. They owned Turf Valley Country Club in Howard County and that kind of thing. So people know the name. Baltimore is it's a small, big town, which makes it wonderful.
Yeah.
And also sometimes it's inconvenient when everybody knows everybody.
Totally.
But my son was in high school when he was in high school, and I was getting texts from people in the industry. Wait a minute, didn't you go to that school? It's like, yeah, I went to the school, but I don't know.
I wasn't an accomplice.
And I think for the school, it's so distracting. The press is calling. Did you see what was going to happen? And it's like, he was 17 when he was here, 18 when he was here.
Exactly.
He was a great kid.
You mentioned a good point though about Baltimore being like a little big town. Kind of goes along the lines of the name. You're the owner of Charm City Run. I mean, I know where this comes from, but for the viewers out here that may not know, where's the name come from?
There's been a lot of debate about the name. Okay. Yeah. And actually there was just an article in the paper kind of like putting it to rest, but Baltimore is a city of neighborhoods.
Yep.
All the neighborhoods have a different architectural feel that makes it very charming.
Yeah.
Right. And so there was an ad campaign way back when that was called the Charm City,
Nice.
and talking about all the charming neighborhoods and visiting the Charm City and that kind of thing. Yeah. And I think there was some kind of game attached to it where you could like get tokens for doing something in each of these neighborhoods.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so that was the Charm City. And as a young person growing up there, that was the vernacular.
Right
even if you lived in Baltimore County, you went away, you went off to college, you went off to do a job. When are you getting back to the Charm City?
Yeah.
When am I going to see you in the Charm City? So when we were starting the store, there was no question.
Right.
Charm City was going to be part of it. That was the momentum, the feel that I wanted. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And you may or may not know, but the way I discovered the industry was through Runtex.
Yes.
So it was like Run Texas,
you were on like
Run Maryland.
a vacation with your wife, right? Like in Texas or?
So we were living there.
Okay.
We were living there. Yes, we went on a vacation there, went to a friend's wedding to sort of see if that was a place where I wanted to go to business school and where she would want to move. We fell in love with Austin, and we lived there 5 years, and my son was born there. And
nice.
And then we got into Runtex Nation, we trying to meet people. We were trying to run with people. And so we got involved with Runtex, and, that's how it all started.
I love how things like this, just like one thing leads to another. And then here I am in the industry. It's like my mom, when I was graduated from college, I was sitting at home applying for jobs, but like wasn't really like, I had been an active kind of guy all through my life, but just sitting at home trying to apply for jobs. I was just sitting there doing nothing. My mom's like, come on, let's go for a run. Like, next thing I know, I'm going for runs with her. I'm going to, a running store to get my first shoes. I'm going to fun runs. I'm getting more involved. I got a job at a running store, and then working in the industry.
Look at you now.
Look at you now having a
dominating
podcast,
the running industry.
having a podcast sitting next to them. Linda's our biggest fan, by the way. We love Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's good to have one.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, and I remember when we started, and it's. You think that obviously you have to feel positive about it. Like when you start a business, like you remind yourself every day how it's going to work, right? Not how it's not going to work.
Yep.
And I remember those days where it was only my mother coming in and buying something else she didn't need to make sure that I could stay happy.
Oh, nice. That's so nice.
And to make sure we could ring the register at least once that day.
Yeah.
Because as you guys know, it's a grind.
It is.
And nothing's guaranteed.
Exactly. I mean, you got to be out there in the trenches, with your sleeves rolled up and getting your hands dirty.
From jumping back from Run Texas to moving back to Baltimore, opening Charm, what was that gap like? Like, what was the bridge like where you were like, we're part of Run Texas, we're running with the community. You know what? We're going back to Baltimore to open up a run specialty shop in my hometown.
It's a great question. Ken, you were talking about life's journey. It's just so interesting, right?
Yeah.
So, we moved down to Texas. Kara's teaching at Episcopal school there, and I'm going to business school, and it's great. And at this point, my life is going to be very conventional, right?
Right.
Went to a prep school in Baltimore. I went to Washington Lee. I got a great education. It's going to be about business and working for a corporation and working really hard and eventually retiring, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was my life's path,
Yeah.
And my dad, who was kind of nutty, was an entrepreneur and wasn't very successful. So if anything, if I'm looking at, my mentors and the people that were showing me the path, I wanted to not be an entrepreneur.
I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't a wild and crazy, like, let's, this is risky. Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's go bankrupt. Let's make a lot of money. Like, that was not who I was.
Let's go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Your wife is like,
everybody's excited about that.
Yeah.
Right? So it was very organic, so I went to business school at UT. I graduate. The goal is stay in Austin. Austin's amazing. It's fun. There's a ton of young people. There's a ton of energy. Goal number one, stay in Austin. So I get a job at Dell Computer. Again, pretty standard path, right?
Yeah.
Work hard at Dell Computer. And then things started changing and Dell started slowing down. And, when they talk about failure being an important part of life in your journey, I applied for a couple open positions that were probably outside of my skill set,
Okay.
but I was young and internally confident, and I got passed over for a couple things.
Yeah.
And it kind of burned me a little bit inside, and I thought, let's do something else, right? And so my business school mentor and professor, I TA'd for this guy, Lee Walker. He was the first president of Dell Computer, very successful guy. He was like, hey, I'm involved with a bunch of startups. Do you want to join this one startup I'm on the board for?
Right on.
He was chairman of the board, right?
Nice.
And now the startup mentality is out there. All you have to do is be close to one, and you're going to be a rich person. Just get in a startup. There's no way you can fail. All startups succeed, right?
Exactly. That's what.
Wait, speaking of which, Ken, do you want to invest in my comedy startup? No
I
way
want to
it's gonna
invest in your
fail.
stand-up company.
Yeah.
So I go to this company, and it was a terrible and great decision. It was a terrible decision because the culture was terrible. If I knew then what I knew now, I never would have done it. I mean, I show up there and I'm a mole for the chairman of the board, right? I'm an agent for the chairman of the board. Pretty obvious, right? It wasn't obvious to me then. So nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. And it was the first time I was in an environment where I was truly miserable. Where I thought, maybe I don't know anything about the world. Maybe my values are wrong. Maybe I don't understand how to be successful and that kind of thing. And I really started to question, maybe not who I was, but my path,
For sure.
But when something like that happens, you start getting back to the basics. What do I love to do? Well, I love the way I feel when I'm in this store run Texas. That makes me happy.
Yep.
Right? I love the owner's life. His kids were always in the store.
Yeah.
His wife was in the store. His kids looked to people like you, young role models, and they had their own relationship outside of their parents. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I thought was incredibly cool was it didn't matter what you looked like or where you came from.
It's very true.
So when I did training programs there, I'll never forget, Austin is so ridiculously hot. So the runs were starting at 5 a.m., right? Well, first of all, everybody's got their shirt off, right? So that's a very vulnerable thing.
Right.
People in all different kinds of physical condition and shape.
Right.
They got their, because you can't afford not to, right? Or else you're going to pass out.
Everybody looks like Bert Kreischer.
So
I'm going to take my shirt off.
And so, I'll never forget running with a corporate executive in town and a postal worker and me.
Super cool.
And I thought, when else in life is that going to happen? I'm meeting people that I would never meet.
Right.
And we're talking over the 15, 20 miles and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it stuck with me. And then Kara and I were home. She's from Howard County.
Okay.
And Kara and I were home to see family on a break, and we're running on the NCR Trail, which you guys are familiar with. And she said, I was talking about the job and what are we going to do? And now we've got this young person we're taking care of. And she said, Baltimore needs a run tex. And that was it. And I couldn't shake it.
Nice.
Nice.
And I started thinking, why not me? You know, I have reasonable intelligence, right? Not the most, not the least. I've been to business school, right?
You have the
Yeah.
skills.
So people with a lot less raw materials have started wonderful businesses, right?
Very true.
Why can't I do this?
Yeah.
And that set that in motion.
That's
Plant
awesome.
that
That's
seed.
that motion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This guy is very similar. I see a lot of parallels in my story and yours there, because I was working I wouldn't say a dead end job, but I was working a job, like a desk job, absolutely hating it. But I was at the same time, you could say moonlighting at a running store. But I love the fact that at the running store, I was able to like work through real world problems, help people like better themselves and like get on the right path in life. Whereas like at my desk job, I was just sitting there answering the phones, filling out spreadsheets. It just seemed very monotonous. It was no reward doing that, but the reward helping everybody and like, you know, building, you know, the future with others and running. And that was so much more enticing to me than sitting behind a computer all day.
Yeah, totally agree. My first job out of college, you know, I was a commercial banker. Again, you know, standard path. And I did learn great skills doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought to myself, you know, if I went away, would anybody's life change? And the answer is no.
No.
You know, there's a ton of bankers.
Right.
We all sell mostly the same products, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only reason why someone is doing business with me is relationship, which is generally on the golf course, of which I'm terrible at, or some kind of rate, or so. There was nothing special about that. And of course, we don't have the only running specialty store out there, but
Right.
it's special.
Yeah.
We have the ability to change people's lives, and you know, we bring the community together. And
that's
that
the most
more than
important.
anything is the biggest defining sort of value of Charm City Run and all the great running specialty stores out there, is bringing people together. I mean, post-COVID, Kristen Watkins, who you guys know, the store lead in Frederick, you know, she sent me the Surgeon General's outgoing address. So the retiring Surgeon General, right? And hopefully I get the words right, but community is the undeniable foundation for our well-being.
Very true. Very true.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think for years we talked about, hey, you know, when we're with people, we kind of feel good and we like that. But now we are directly tying it to our health or lack thereof.
Yep.
So the fact that we have the ability to do that, and we are actually, I don't think it's a stretch to say that we are making an impact on our public health in a positive way. I think it's important, and I feel privileged that we're able to do that.
Takes a village.
For sure. I think what you're saying captures how wonderful run specialty can be, because if people don't know, right, like if they're outside the world of run specialty, I think sometimes they'll look at a shop and just assume it's just retail because maybe they're familiar with other retailers. But to your point, it's so much more, because you're doing group runs. In your case, in Charm City's case, you're putting on races and events. You're having these training groups, and it's like, no, it's like I talk to my family who doesn't really understand what run specialty is,
Right.
and they're like, oh, it's just a shop, and it's like, no, it's way more than a shop, because there's so much more that goes into both the community
lifestyle.
and the soul side of it, but then also just honestly the business side of it.
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean, it's a movement. I don't think the three of us and a lot of the people we respect would be doing it if it's just retail.
Right.
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. And it wouldn't draw the caliber of person to work in it if it was just retail.
Exactly.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
for sure.
But
For
you
sure.
mentioned, so other than running, you're a golfer?
Once a year, maybe. You know, I always admire the people that can like go out to the golf course and play with three strangers all day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I was good, I would do that. Or like, there's nothing I want to do today except go to the range and hit golf balls.
Very
yeah.
true.
Like after like 10 seconds, I'm like, And again, if I was better, maybe my outlook would be different, right?
Totally.
'Cause
Yeah.
I'm not better.
Because it's like
I'm worse.
It's like I'm gonna go play golf with 3 people. For me, means I'm gonna go piss off 3 people that I'm
Totally,
playing
totally,
golf
and
with.
embarrass myself. And like,
Yeah.
you know, you're standing over the ball and you're like, this isn't gonna go well. this ain't gonna go well. And then I'm gonna be embarrassed.
You hit
know what I mean?
it. You hit it. And you're like, do you guys like running? We go for a run. I'm much better at that.
It drives me crazy when people are like, the only time I want to run is if I'm being chased. You know, and
Well, Ken loves that because of the serial killer thing. That's what got him into running.
and we're back. And we're back to killers.
That's what motivates his whole life.
Yeah, but running is just such a gift to yourself, and then connected to the people around you, because it makes you a better person.
Right.
You know?
It's good for your health. It's good for, you know, the community and building relationships. It's good for, it's just good for so many different things, you know. It's such a
100%.
transformative power.
I think sometimes people, like my wife, for example, who is an avid runner now, she works in run specialty too, but she started running around the pandemic, and I never like pushed it or tried to like, you know, I don't want to influence my life onto hers in that way.
Right.
But when she's like, I'm gonna go for a run. I'm like, cool, I'll go with you. And she's like, balls to the wall. And I'm like, no. Like, you should, even if you're starting off, like, run at a comfortable pace where you can kind of chat and like start slow and easy. And I think sometimes people think if I'm gonna go run, it's a sprint the whole time. And it's like, no. Like, if you run easy, like you keep within yourself, it's gonna be more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think that gets lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. And you know, it's a sport for life. You know, and the one thing that I think that parents want to give their kids is sports for life. You know, how to stay active for, you know, into your 60s and 70s and hopefully even 80s, even though it may turn into walking then. But, you know, my kids have had different journeys, but they all run to some level now. And I love that. You know, I just think it's so important.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's always funny to me as well when somebody's like, "Oh, I don't run because of my knees," and it's always like my aunt. She's like smokes 3 packs a day. She's like, I smoke 3 packs a day. I eat McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Oh, running? No, I don't do that. I care about my health. It's like,
Right, I care about my knees.
I
It's
can't
like,
hurt my knees.
You know. I don't think you should be worried about your knees right now. I think you
Yeah.
should be, you know,
like,
worried about a few other things.
other
you know?
things,
Oh yeah,
man.
me and my dad was like, my dad looked at me like I was an alien. You know, I mean, my dad was 2 packs a day, Marlboro Reds. You know, big drinker, funny guy, great guy. You know, but we were just, and I think those influences define who you are.
Totally.
You know, you go that way, but if you go another way, it's probably because your dad went that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he, I mean, he was so proud of me, but you know, he would be driving around, smoking in his car without the window down, and then he would see somebody running, and he would basically cut them off, roll down his window, blow smoke on them, and hand them a Charm City Run brochure. So, a lot of love.
You're doing it wrong.
A lot of love.
Shop here.
Yes, but not the advertising marketing campaign that we wanted when we started. And there was a lot of that.
That's too
That's
funny.
wild.
That's the grassroots marketing we need.
That's what every brand should invest. Just one guy drive around the
One guy
city,
driving around smoking cigarettes.
just puffing it. Yeah. Try these shoes. Throw out the window.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody's going to take you up on that.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to get fired from a brand. No, you know what's funny is just because the window story with your dad. Where I'm from, it was upstate New York, so like very wintry area. I'm running in a blizzard, basically, which whatever, you know,
Yeah.
we all do. It's fine. Nobody in my town, like, it's very dilapidated. Nobody really exercises, so it's weird to see me running in general, but especially during a blizzard.
Right.
It just made me laugh because this is a true story. A car pulled up to me as I'm running, and the guy rolled down the window and seemed genuinely concerned. And he was like, "The roads are all ice. You can't be running." And I don't like being told what to do by people I don't know. So
Right.
I go back to him, I looked him in the eyes, and I was like, "You're right. Can I have a ride home?" And he was like, "F***ing keep running. Bye." And then he just
Was it a test, or did you really want to ride home?
No, I'm not taking a ride home. It could have been a
Right,
yeah, but
okay.
I was just like,
It was a test.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like this false caring. You know, you
Right,
just want to
right.
tell somebody what to do, and I'm
Very
crazy.
And,
so
so what if he says yes? what's your next move?
They'll be like, no thanks, pedophile, and I run the other way.
And you run the other way in
Yeah.
the blizzard, like just like into some field or something where you live. Like
I would just
how
turn
does
on the
that-
road or
Okay.
cut through a gas station
Yeah.
or something. Because if he said yes, I guess it depends how he said yes. Because
Right.
if he was like, yeah, no problem, man, I want to make sure you're safe, I'd be like, probably a good guy. But if he was
Right.
like, yeah, get in the car,
Right.
I'd be like,
Then you'd be like, no.
nah, I'm all right.
Hey, I got a piece of candy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'd
No
be
good.
like, fool me once.
good.
That was my fault the first time, but second time, I'm not falling. Not again.
So something you may not know about me, I got hit by a car running 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I was really afraid you were going to say somebody got you with the candy thing once, and I was like, oh, God, this just got real.
That did not happen.
We'll
Did
cut this
not
out of the
happen to
show
me.
if we need to,
Yeah.
Josh.
And it was scary. I mean, I got lucky. I got really lucky.
You get hit
but
by the
man,
car.
it was scary. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean,
Was it just
you know,
like
these old cities.
Yeah.
You know, I come down to Northern Virginia. I mean, there's paths everywhere,
Right.
Right. I mean, there's no paths in Baltimore County, and I mean, and the lanes for traffic were made when cars were normal size, not
Right.
Ford F-150s,
Right.
right? I mean,
Large,
so
like-
yeah, and so you know, I was in a crosswalk and someone took a left and just
Wasn't paying attention.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yikes.
knocked
So
me down.
did-
But luckily, I didn't go like up and over.
Ah,
I just
okay.
went down. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? So,
Oh.
but yeah, man.
Yikes.
Did you have like, were you messed up from it or were you hopefully okay?
I was mostly okay. I thought I was messed up because after I came to, all of, you know, my body was totally discolored. So I just thought, I
Yeah.
didn't think I hit my head, which I didn't,
Good.
but I thought I had broken every bone
Oh.
because everything was like that yellowy blue,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't break any bones.
Nice. That's
It was
very
incredible.
helpful.
Yeah, I was so thankful.
Yeah.
So besides like major bruising and then having to get like sort of my lungs checked out for a couple years because they saw like a little something,
Mhm.
I was totally fine,
Oh,
which was
Man,
unbelievable.
that's good.
Do you have any sort of like, feelings, when you're going back out? Like,
Totally.
running in Baltimore? or-
Totally. I mean, I got back out pretty quickly, but I would say those 50-50 days where you're like treadmill or outside,
Yeah.
Mhm.
You were
being
more treadmill.
being older and also having that experience, I'm like, hey, you know what?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with treadmill.
Treadmill.
It's not that boring. Like I can
Totally.
run 5 miles on a treadmill.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm hoping I'm hoping I get to that point
Yeah.
at some point because I hate it. I hate treadmills.
Yeah.
I can't do them.
I like them, man. I'm nuts, but I'll do my long run on a treadmill.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm also insane though, so I just stare at the wall for 17 miles, like,
Yeah.
boy, oh boy, I'm sure glad I'm not dead today.
It is I mean, runners are strange, right? And it
Yeah.
is a cool mental test.
Yeah.
Like I had to run 18 on a treadmill a couple weeks ago.
Oh man,
Are
are you training for something?
training for Tokyo.
Oh shit,
Super excited.
that's awesome.
Right on.
yeah.
Nice.
And there was a weird part of me, 10% of me, that was like, I'm looking like to see if I could,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the other thing with the treadmill is you got all your stuff right.
That's true. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
you got
can-
your nutrition.
Yep.
You have multiple water bottles.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's all right there.
If you need a bathroom break, you don't have to be like, hope I don't go to jail.
And you're not thinking about your outfit,
Nope.
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
Shorts, shirt, socks,
Whatever.
shoes.
Throw it
you're
on.
Good to go.
Go to the treadmill.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I got through that, but it does bang me up.
yeah. The
It-
treadmill.
it's a different kind of soreness.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
Hips and it just feels different than after a long run on the pavement.
I could be wrong. I think it does change your gait a little bit, right?
No question.
Yeah,
You got
like,
this thing in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? You got that barrier in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah,
That's I don't know if it helps or not, but I try to, if I'm ever running on a treadmill, I try to run on an incline because I think that's for me it feels more natural than
they
if
say
it were flat.
they say that if you put it on like a 0.5 grade, then
Yeah.
that sort of simulates how your gait is outside
Yeah,
better.
okay,
But
yeah.
I just hate doing that because then just mentally the whole
Uh-huh.
time I'm like I'm going up a hill and I
Oh,
can't.
yeah. I've been doing that recently though.
Yeah.
And then I would try to change something every mile. Like
Okay,
again,
yeah.
like play with our crazy mind.
Right.
So every mile I would try to go like up another half
Okay.
or change the speed one click or just something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Just,
know,
I
change it up.
I love doing like tempo workouts or fartlek workouts on the treadmill. It's just because you just set it at the pace. You don't have to worry about because it's like, no, I know I'm going the pace because I just digitally did it. Yeah, I don't know.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've seen videos of folks doing that in the gym, doing like their track workouts on a treadmill, and they'll have like 2 treadmills set up. So the one treadmill is at their track tempo pace or whatever, and then the other treadmill is at their
That's
their
hardcore.
recovery.
Yep.
pace.
That is hardcore.
And so they're just constantly just going back and forth, and it's I thought that was cool because you don't have to worry about like
yeah. But I'm afraid to jump
right.
on a treadmill
Yeah, I know,
that's going fast.
That's with me. Like
Yeah.
I was
Now
like,
some people can they do their arm thing
Yeah.
and then they get on there and they go. I'm like, no. I need to go up, down, down, down.
Right.
first
up, up, up.
transition, I would hit that thing and boom, flat
ya.
on my face. Like,
So why Tokyo?
Well, I'm super excited. Never been to Japan. I'm so excited to see it, and
Nice.
got invited from one of the run specialty vendors. So
Nice.
just
Oh my
super
God, that's
excited
awesome.
to do it. And the great thing about that is like I'll be with friends and peers and that
Yeah.
kind of thing, and to be able to run international and not have to deal with the stress of the logistics.
Yeah.
It's an amazing
That's awesome.
opportunity.
That's awesome.
you know?
Are you gonna go see Tokyo Disney while you're there?
I don't think that's on the plan. And I've seen a bunch of Disneys.
Okay.
I've been to Euro, been to California.
Florida.
Have I been to Paris? I haven't been to Paris. Oh, definitely Florida. I mean, come
Yeah,
on, East
Florida.
Coaster.
Yeah, for
First
sure.
time we took our kids to Disney was the huge blizzard that was here. We drove them down.
Wow.
There was nobody in the park. Amazing.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. And I was having such a good time. And I looked my wife in the eye and I said, we're going down here every year.
Nice.
This is amazing.
We're moving to Celebration Village.
And she looked at me and she's like, we're never coming back.
Oh no. That's so funny.
Well,
so
you used to
does
work
she
at
not
Disney.
like
and
it?
she was right.
Yeah.
Oh,
She was right. We never went back again. I think she loved it. I have a reputation, which has served me well in some things in life, that I get a little bit excited in the moment.
Okay.
You know what I
I
mean?
can relate
I'm
to
just
that.
like, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
this is the best thing ever. And she has always been the person in our relationship. Like, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Just got to rein you in.
Cool your jets a little bit.
That's funny.
You know?
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I met my wife. We were both working at Disney World. That's
That
how I
is
met her.
amazing.
Yeah, man.
I think I knew that.
Oh, you did?
So where were?
Okay.
So where? Which one? Where?
So we
Florida?
Florida. We
Okay.
did the Disney College program, and we met kind of through that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And what were you doing there, and what was she doing there?
So she worked in Magic Kingdom Food and Beverage, and
Okay.
she worked at a couple different places. So like, oh God, I don't want to get the names wrong. She worked at multiple places.
Okay.
And then I worked on the Toy Story Midway Mania ride in Hollywood Studios, which sounds fun, but you stand there for 12 hours with the music on a loop.
Yeah.
You're like, someone give me a gun.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like lifeguarding.
Yeah.
Like like looks
Yeah.
good on paper,
Right.
but then when you're sitting there,
It was
Yeah. You're
one
like,
maybe the hardest job I've ever done, which it doesn't sound hard, but you're
Wow.
standing there. Sometimes you're in the heat of
Uh-huh.
it's hot. You have to be in character the whole time, and people are abusive and entitled, and that's difficult sometimes. Like even in run specialty, you're always nice to the customers, but if somebody is being blatantly rude, you're like,
Right.
sir, like I want you to have a good experience, but like if you're gonna be like this, you have to leave the store.
yeah,
That
is
you
a-
can't-
that
you
is a
can't
hard
do.
one. Right?
Not at Disney.
They can't
Yeah.
they can't abuse your staff,
yeah.
Yeah.
and they can't question your integrity.
Right.
Yeah.
know.
One time,
Yeah.
there's smoking, designated smoking areas in the parks, right?
Sure.
One time, this guy was smoking like behind, kind of like it wasn't a designated spot, but it
Sounds
was
like my dad.
kind of probably
Yeah, okay.
maybe it was your dad. I had to go, and all the staff are like, "You talk to him, you talk to him." And they're like, "Tommy, you talk to him," and I'm like, "I'll talk to anybody. Who am I talking to him about?" And then I went up to him like, "Oh God!" So I was like, "Man, you can't do this here." And he just started screaming at me. He's like, "This is bullshit. I paid so much money to be here," and I'm like. I didn't make the prices, man. I make $12 an hour. Like, what do you want me to do? Sorry, you can't smoke here. Be nice.
Oh man.
And that seems to be the trend in many things now, right? Like if you pay the money,
I'm
you
entitled
can
to
do
do whatever
anything
I
you
want. Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I think wrongly Disney gets synonymous with that, and because it's so expensive and it's hot, and it's depending on when you go. Like you went at the perfect time.
Right.
People don't always know when to go though,
Right.
and they're like, "Well, it's summer vacation. We're gonna go in summer." It's like, good luck with that. It is the hottest, most busiest time of the year.
Oh, gosh.
the
I went
time.
to Florida in October and I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
Right.
Like-
I remember a friend telling me he was going to go bankrupt on bottled water
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he took his kids down there. Yeah.
And things are changing. Like, see, that's another thing that people don't realize. I don't know if it's still the case because a lot of things have changed the past few
Right.
years, especially with COVID. You used to be able to bring in food, water, whatever you needed. So, because I was raised by a single mom, we didn't have a lot of money, so we would
Right.
go down. We'd stay in like a $50 motel, and then we would go to the parks. But she would bring the food every day. We would never buy park food.
Right.
So it was really only the ticket price. So when people would be like, Disney's so expensive, it's like, well, not if you know what. Not if you know how to
what
do it.
Right.
You know how to
Yeah.
go,
Right.
you know?
And I think that kind of initiative is not happening as much anymore. Right? I think a lot of people, I mean, I see it on the ski slopes too. Like, I love to go skiing and snowboarding. And, I feel like people, that was the thing.
Yeah.
You packed your lunch, you stuffed the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in your jacket.
Right.
You went water's free and then
Yeah.
you got water. I don't see it as much.
Oh yeah.
People stop for lunch and they get, and I think they're reasonable, like bowl of chili or something like that. But I don't think they're packing all the sundries they need for the day.
Totally. I think with Disney, it's getting tricky. Like, the fast pass now costs money. It never cost money when I was growing up. Even when I
Right.
worked there, it was included, and like parking costs money now. So if you want to like drive your car in,
All
you
the
have
add-ons.
to pay.
Yes.
Which, like, I was talking about it with my wife. We were like, damn, like it's like $30 or $40 to park, or whatever the number is.
Right.
But I think 20,000 people are parking that day. Like, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars just in parking.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's wild.
What great training that must have been, though. Right? I mean, to work for Disney, like the way they train employees and the way they run their business. I mean, I would think that would be a great experience. Yes. No. Kind
No,
of.
not for me. It depends on the person.
Okay.
Is the honest answer, and it depends on where you're working. I found my job to be really stressful because the music, but then also, so that ride that I worked on is a wonderful ride, and that anybody can go on it. Like, if you have like a very disabled person in your family, if you have a baby, they have vehicles that will accommodate.
Admirable.
Wonderful.
Admirable.
There is so much protocol and therefore stress that goes along with that. And like, there's also just the type of thing of like what you're built for, what you're made for. Like, I love running. I love run specialty.
Right.
Maybe I'm made for that. I love stand-up comedy. I'm made for that.
Right.
I'm not great if somebody's being blatantly abusive. I'm not great at just taking that
Right.
with a smile.
Right.
And
Who is? That's almost like a superpower.
Well, a lot of people are good at it at Disney, and also
Yeah.
like I also learned that, like, 'cause I'm sure you've heard like Disney adults get made fun of, right?
Right.
But there are tiers to Disney adults. Like, I feel like my wife and I, we like it, kind of like you and your family, we like it, normal.
right.
But then there are other people, and I worked with them, that'll be like, Tinkerbell is real, and I'm like. I'm like,
Hardcore.
yeah, hardcore.
Hardcore.
And it's like, yeah, Tinkerbell is great. No, she's rich. She has a tattoo on my, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
boy.
The tattoos. Yep.
Yeah. So
Hardcore.
Hardcore. So, I mean, it was a really wonderful experience. I met my wife from it, so I
Right.
never, ever complained. I would have quit within 2 weeks, though, if I hadn't met her.
Okay.
So I would have
So
left
you stuck it out for
immediately.
love, which
Yeah.
we all do.
Yeah. Yep. That's
Which
right.
we all do.
That's right.
So how long did you end up staying?
I stayed the whole duration.
Okay.
Yeah, I did almost get fired, but I stayed the whole
So
duration.
1 year.
No, so I was there January to like June, May or June.
Okay.
And
so you had a 6-month gig.
and she had January till August, and then so basically I was there with her, and then we did distance, and then I moved in with her in Philly when when she finished up, and she's from Philadelphia area.
So she's from the Philly area.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And you both live in Alexandria now.
yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
That's great.
Sorry, I went on a tangent there,
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
when
That's
people
cool,
bring up
man.
Disney, I get
right,
pumped.
Disney, right. You have a lot to say.
Yeah.
You've been on the ground.
Yeah, it was a good experience. No, it was good.
But you got the Tokyo Marathon.
If you're
coming
watching
up.
this from
Yeah,
the
we got
Disney
Tokyo Marathon
Corporation,
coming up.
it was a good experience.
I hear a lot of cool things though about the Tokyo Marathon. Depending on what your body is used to, like
boy.
running in the morning versus running in the evening. I hear that if you're accustomed to running in the evening, the Tokyo Marathon is like the best like overseas marathon to do, because like say if we're like on the opposite end of the spectrum, you go to London to run that marathon. you're going forward in time, really. So like your body feels like at the start line of the London Marathon, it feels like it's 3 a.m. or something in the morning.
Interesting.
Here, but like over in Tokyo, if you're running the marathon at in the morning, it feels like it's 5 or 6 o'clock at night here. So like
You're not building my confidence.
your body is going to be like,
I only run in the morning.
oh well, you'll be all right.
Yeah. No,
It's going to be fine.
you'll
And
be
if it's not,
fine.
you're not going to be there.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna be great.
I'm going to get up to the starting line. Ken said this is not going to go well.
You'll be fine. You'll have so much fun. That's awesome. Like, have you ever run a marathon on another continent, another
Man.
country?
So, yes. So, luckily, after COVID, my son, who went to GW and had a great experience there, did not get to study abroad. So, and he's really good with languages and that kind of thing. So, he lived in Paris the year after he graduated.
Right on.
And then my daughter, who goes to NYU, was like, I want to take advantage of their study abroad program and that kind of thing. So they were both in Paris.
Sweet.
And so Ben, who grew up as a runner and is still running and loves it, we love to do it together. We decided to do Paris together.
Oh, that's nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So we did Paris in 2022 together. And it was amazing. My daughter was there and it was incredible.
That's
It was
awesome.
an amazing experience. So that's the only international one I've ever run.
That's super cool. Paris is one of my favorite cities. I love Paris.
Yeah. So cool.
And I've never been abroad except for Canada. So I went to Canada once, and they almost took me away from my mom at the border.
Really?
Oh yeah, I've never
Care to
told you this
expound?
story.
Yeah. I would love to hear it.
Dad wasn't present.
Okay.
I have the same last name as my father.
Okay.
So we're driving through customs, and to them it looks like a disgruntled mother is stealing her son and fleeing the country, which was not the case. I live with her; she is the caretaker.
Right.
But they
You don't have to convince me.
They
I'm on board.
Just having flashbacks. They separated us. They questioned me. They questioned her, and then they had to get my father on the phone.
That must have been terrifying.
I didn't really understand what was going
Right.
on
How
till
old?
I was 7
Okay,
or 8.
yeah, But you're old enough to know.
Oh, it was weird. I knew something was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
quite right.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if they found her crack cocaine in the back. I don't know. No, she didn't. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Hope she's watching.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great for you.
No, she doesn't watch this show.
Sunday night phone call.
She doesn't watch it. She's very nervous about me doing comedy. She doesn't watch anything. I'm just kidding. She's great. What the were we talking
you
about?
you got separate. You got
Oh yeah, I got
at the
separated
border.
at with my mom. But yeah, no, once they got a hold of my dad, and he's like, no, I just I abandoned the family. They were like, oh okay, all's good, man. Good luck with the rest of your life. She's like, thanks. And then
Well, I mean, I'm glad he picked up.
yeah, me too.
Right? If he didn't pick up,
Yeah.
then you would have had a bigger
That would have been.
problem.
That
or
would have been
longer
rough.
problem.
Yeah, longer. It
Longer
would have.
problem.
It would have all
Yeah.
been fine because he's This isn't why he wasn't present, but he was in the army and stuff. So like.
Okay.
They would have gotten a hold of him eventually.
Okay,
You
they
know what I
would've
mean?
found- yeah,
it wasn't
totally.
like he was AWOL in New Mexico smoking blunts out front of a
Right,
7-Eleven.
right.
Like he
what's
was.
that called? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know how we get a hold of him.
You got to New Mexico smoking blunts really quickly.
I'm a comic man.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're telling me you've had no experience with either.
No, I've
Okay.
never been to New Mexico.
Oh man, I love that. He's like, and I've never been to New Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the other thing.
Yeah, even
But
though
I've never been to New
even though
Mexico.
this is a work podcast, even though this is not a work podcast, I'm not running some risks.
So have you ever had any trouble with customs
Blunts?
or border? Yeah, blunts. I've had trouble with border patrol.
I have
customs,
not had any trouble.
Yeah.
I don't think. Besides long hot lines.
Well, not
But
yet.
no trouble.
Yeah.
Once
Not
this
yet.
comes
Now.
out,
Now I'm gonna have
yeah.
trouble.
now
Coming back from Tokyo.
I mean, this
forget
guy is
about it.
anti-Disney podcast. I'm not gonna get to go anywhere. You know what I mean? They have people watching.
Yeah.
You know, they're a marketing machine.
I know. Yeah. My only
Big
problem,
Disney's coming for me.
Yeah, my only problem that I've ever had. I don't think I've told you this with was it customs or border or whatever. This is after college. I was over in Scotland. I was visiting my family over in Scotland, and I went to Marseille, France, by myself. for a week. Was coming back into Scotland, and the border agent was like, where are you? When are you going home? Like, can you show me your return flight? And this is like the early 2000s, so I don't have any of that information on me. Like, I would have had to print it out ahead of time,
Right.
or like I can't pull it up on my phone
Right,
at that
right.
moment. So I'm like having to like fumble with this border agent in the UK of like, no, like I'm here. I need to go visit. I'm here to visit my family. I need to go touch base with my mom. She's here in the country. Like, I'm not here to stay. I'm going back home to America. And the border agent was like, no, I should just send you where you came from. Sir, I just came from France and I'm an American. You can see my passport. Like, why are you going to send me back to France? Like, well, you can't prove when you're leaving my country. Oh, geez. Like,
Wait, so how did that resolve? Was he just like busting your balls, or
I
what?
think so, because eventually like somebody else came over and I was like, look, I don't have any of the info on me, but I'm leaving on this date. And I think they must have were able to like look up a flight,
Figure it
saying,
out.
like, yeah,
Okay.
there is a flight leaving this day to go here and there. And he is somewhat right in what he is saying. So I was like, all right, well,
Okay.
How long?
Whew, that's scary.
How long did that hold you up? Like, was it hours or was it like a half
it was
hour?
like maybe like a half hour.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
20
That's
still
minutes
kinda-
or so.
but
But
still-
it's like, yeah, you're
it's
like by
uncomfortable.
yourself. You're
It's
like,
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
like, am I
Yeah.
gonna get back? Are they gonna let me through, or am I gonna have to figure out how to get back into the like? They're gonna send me back to France, and I'm gonna figure something else out. Like,
Damn.
yeah,
I have had worries, but they didn't come to fruition. So, about 14 years ago, we took our family around the world.
super sweet.
He's got that Charm City money.
He's bringing the Charm City around the world.
And it was a great experience. And we have family in Israel.
Okay.
And we were going to Dubai on the trip. We had friends teaching in Dubai. We were going to Israel. And I have a buddy who works in DC. He worked for Senator Warner. He worked for a bunch of senators, right? And so I was kind of in contact with him and that kind of thing. And he said, hey, just so you know, don't let them stamp your passport in Israel. Because if they stamp your passport, you probably can't get into Dubai.
Oh,
Well,
because they don't like Israel?
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so I go up.
because they might think you're a spy or something.
Yeah, right. So I go up and I said, hey, we're here to visit, and I'm ready to say, hey, can you just stamp a piece of paper? But the woman who was working it stamped a piece of paper, gave me my passport back. I didn't have to say anything.
Okay.
So I thought we're fine.
Right on.
So we're getting ready to go to Dubai, take out the passports, make sure everybody's got their passports. I look in there, she'd stamped both. And our trip was, the one thing that was really expensive about the trip was the flights.
Right.
And if you wanted to change anything, I mean,
Forget about it.
it was a beatdown, right? Like, if, 5 people, hey, that'll be $8,000 if you want to change anything, right? So we're going to Dubai. We're going to see our friends.
Right.
We're going to stay with them. And so I'm calling them on the phone. Everybody's saying a different thing, And we get to the Dubai airport, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. They let us through. Fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
no problem at all. Yeah.
As you're walking through, you're like, what the hell was that guy's problem?
Right.
Yeah.
They're not going to let you in Dubai.
But the best part is we were tired a lot on the trip, and my little one, Sam, our baby, she was, she's in all these airports, and she's super young. She's kind of falling asleep, and she reaches up and grabs the guy's hand. She thought it was me. So this man from Dubai who, was in their dress and that
Traditional,
kind of
yeah.
thing, she's holding the guy's hand, and the guy just held her hand, and they walked through like customs together, and I was right behind him. And then poor Sam, she looked up. You're not my daddy. Started freaking out.
Oh, God.
but it was great.
What did he, was he just like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, he
You're
was
like,
just a nice. He's just.
he looks at you like, your kid is weird. I don't know.
He was just a nice person.
My man. No, I'm just kidding. That's very sweet.
That's a great thing about traveling, right? Is that you go to these places, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's millions and millions and millions of people, right? And if you believe what you read or social media, like, they're all one thing.
Right.
Mhm.
They love America. They hate America.
Yep.
They're all communists. They're all socialists. No country has all one,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, we spent a lot of time in China. Oh my God, that must have been hard. They love Americans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we had people walking up to us in the park. Hey, can our class practice English with you? Absolutely, sure.
That's awesome.
know?
Yeah. I hate like, that you speak about, talking about France, like I feel like they get a bad rap because French people tend to be kind of snooty. But like when Americans go over there to visit, they just assume that snootiness is like, oh, you don't like America. It's just their personalities, man.
Right,
Like
right.
they're just, that's who they
Different
are.
personalities. And then there's the
Yeah.
whole like Parisian and the rest of France.
Yeah.
Because there's a different sort
Which-
of personality that goes with that.
Oh my gosh, like the French accents are crazy. Like the further south in France you go, the faster they speak. That's their accents. So like down in Marseille, which is the south, the furthest south you can go, a whole sentence sounds like one word, and you're like, wait a minute, what did you just say?
Well, I can't speak French
Can you
anyway.
slow that
but-
down? Like,
I've got a good story. If it's no bueno, I'll cut it out. Please don't be offended by the language. It's a true story.
Okay.
So where I went to college, where I ran in college, our teammates were from all over the world, like Kenya, Australia,
Wow.
Great Britain.
Where'd you go?
Iona.
Okay, yeah,
College.
sure.
The whole thing was assembled in the USA, right?
Right.
So my first week there, because we got to school early before everybody for training
sure.
camp and stuff, and me and my Australian teammate, I will bleep this, but the word isn't that big of a deal in the rest of the world, but I did not know that. So I see walking across the street, and I'm like, oh, hey, lots of people around, families are moving in, and he just yells out, oi, and I was like, and I was just, everybody's like, people are clutching their pearls, and I'm just like, dude, what? You can't be saying that here. He's like, what? Stop being a like, it's fine. And I was just like, God,
The more you were trying to get him to stop, the more he was saying it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it became like a very used like verb on the team where just constantly.
you just gotta say
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
It's like, right, my Scottish cousins, it's like the word for cigarette over there is and
Oh, yeah?
they'll being over, they'll come visit over here, and they smoke, and they'll be oh, you got a on you, you've got a it's like, hey, you can't be saying that word, like, come on guys, like, you gotta chill, like, it is 2025.
I used to get called that in high school, but they didn't mean the cigarette. Well, this is gonna be so many bleeps in this episode.
Right?
Just-
I'm getting my first one.
I know you're doing great, buddy. I'm so proud of you.
Is that how you keep score?
We laugh
The number
now.
of bleeps?
We laugh now, but a month from now, we're gonna be like, "Well, we both got fired, Josh."
Right.
It
was a good run.
Yeah,
No pun
what we
intended.
had,
It was a good
you know?
run.
it was a good run.
You guys had fun while it
Yeah,
lasted.
it was a good time. We had a good
How
time.
did you guys meet? On the in soccer?
Just,
Yeah.
okay, just like
That's
this.
cool.
In
Yeah, no, I mean, like, he, and Tommy here had told me about, when we were, getting to know each other through the role. He was telling me that he had this podcast that he was doing during COVID. It was voice only. And he was doing it with a friend of his during COVID, and it kind of like fell off once the world opened back up again, but he was really wanting to get back out there and doing it again. So I was like, let's
yeah.
Well, that's
let's
cool.
do it, man. Like,
So
cool.
I kept it going, but it was again just me, just audio, and then I was doing stand up at this venue, and like I said, Nelson, our producer, and he showed me back here, and it's like, this is the place. And then I was talking with Ken about it, and I said, Ken, like, I really like our conversations, and you're funny, but you're also really knowledgeable in a way that I'm not, and that would be, I think, bring a lot of benefit to the show, and yeah.
Compliment one another in that
Yeah.
aspect, I would say.
Very
and
cool.
also I like Ken, so yeah, it's
You got a good
It's kind of
partnership.
such a cool way to bring people together and
well, so
and meet people and
Yeah,
develop
so-
relationships where you've had like a little bit of a relationship, but it goes much deeper.
Yeah.
And this is like this is the
Yes.
catalyst.
So
Yes.
my whole thing, this is called the Laugh and Run podcast. I do Laugh and Run Productions. I'm headlining across the country this year, doing stand up. We're doing a free All Paces Welcome group run before.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's like that's my whole thing outside of like other work.
Yeah.
And
Talking about building a community.
Yeah.
and-
Literally what you're doing.
And so it's like live events, content, and then eventually, like as I keep doing shows and keep building these communities, like I'm partnering with all these different running groups in the communities. I'm doing a show, like going to Grand Rapids, partnering with Run Grand Rapids. It's like the biggest team there, and
That's awesome.
going, all over, and so eventually we'll move into like having products and stuff too. And so it's
Wow,
it's
that's
it's
pretty
it's
cool.
fun, man.
You're an entrepreneur.
I started running and doing comedy when I was 12.
Wow.
So it's all I think about, and it's all I
Yeah.
know. And comedy. I've had ebbs and flows, but
Uh-huh.
tying it in with running has really made it feel organic and real. Like
Yeah.
not real, but like good, like purposeful in a way that it didn't before. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Such respect for stand-up comedians.
I
You
know,
I
right?
mean,
Like,
Uh,
and to get
well,
heckled.
I mean, it takes courage to start your own business, right? But I mean, to get up in front of a lot of people.
Well, I'm headlining Fort Belvoir if you want to come this Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's around here, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
for the military, but it's a
Okay.
free show. You would just have to bring 2 forms of ID. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you ever do the Baltimore venues?
Out of risk. Well,
Goobies?
McGoobies comedy. Yeah.
McGoobies, yeah.
No, and I'll sometimes go up in Virginia area to like
Okay.
work out stuff, but ultimately, like out of respect for what I do in other side of life,
Yeah.
I will not do my show in the areas I cover because I don't want to create a conflict of interest or anything
Interesting.
like that.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
maybe they wouldn't care, but I'd rather be safe than sorry because I like my work and
Yeah.
but
you like to keep doing it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I just
Not like working the ride.
and and you never know, like most people are cool, but if somebody had a problem with it and then complained, like why is this person doing this run and show on the night of our group run?
Oh,
then
gotcha.
it's
Okay.
like yeah. But if I go out of territory, then it's fine.
So you run, group run,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sweating, I assume,
So yeah,
and then you just stand up.
yeah.
And you're ready
Sweating
to go.
more.
Yeah,
under the
Yeah,
lights.
sweating more in the lights.
Okay,
Right, right.
and
You give your
I'm
yeah.
headlining, so right, like I'll run with the group. Like okay, so the first show this year was in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I partnered with Kennett, Kennett Running Club.
Okay.
And the group came and we ran. We only did like a mile before the show,
Okay.
but then the people in the club stayed for the show. They got a discount to it. My openers went up and I changed into my clothes. By the time I got up there, it was good.
So you have time to catch your breath, and get some
Yeah.
water, and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You're not
yeah.
like finishing the run and getting up there.
I don't go right to stage now.
Got it.
So it's all good.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
I mean, I'm booking shows. I'm going to. Okay, so next month will be Portland, Maine, Grand Rapids, Michigan, New York City. Working out a Flagstaff, Arizona date for April. May I'm in 2 different places in Florida, and then this summer I'm hitting Salt Lake City, Minneapolis, Bozeman, Montana.
Love Bozeman.
I've never been, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been.
And then I'm working out a couple other dates, which I won't say yet because I haven't.
Right.
Yeah, but
And so do you have an agent? Are you calling all these clubs? Are they calling you because word of mouth's happening?
I've had managers in the past, but
Uh-huh.
there's tier and I don't have a manager or agent right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing it all myself, and I'll reach out to the venues. Sometimes it's comedy clubs, sometimes it's breweries, and if they're interested, we'll work out a deal. And but I'm doing it all myself. So,
Cool.
which also you can make more money, honestly. Like not to be
Sure,
gross,
not paying the middleman. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's not all about money.
Absolutely.
But if a manager's going to take 10 to 15%. But if they're not opening doors, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
totally.
if they're not getting me in venues and they just want me to go on shitty commercial auditions, like I did the professional auditioning thing. I hated it
Uh-huh.
when I was like 22. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. And I don't, unless you're going to hook me up with there's no point to you. So let me just do
Right.
it myself.
Who are some stand-up comedians? I mean, I love how I'm interviewing you, but
Yeah, I
this
was
is the way it
gonna-
goes.
I have a
who
question for him as
Who
well.
are some stand-up comedians you really like?
I really love I listen to comedy different than probably the way most
Okay.
do. I'll listen to comedy the way a comic does, but I really love the art form, so I'll listen to anybody and everybody.
Okay.
When I was very young, Adam Sandler, David Spade,
Yeah.
Chris Rock, those were like my guys. So I
Okay.
always say them, but like I'll listen to stand up like I listen to music. Like when I'm driving, I'll just listen to stand up. I mean, Chad Daniels, I think is the
Okay.
most underrated comic there is. He's great. I'll get on him for a while. Also Kelsey Cook, that's his girlfriend, but she's amazing. Maria Bamford is so good. And then, obviously big ones like Dave Chappelle, Louis, Shane Gillis is crushing. I did a show with Mark Norman last year, and that was cool. He's a nice guy, and yeah. So
Is John Mulaney
I like John.
somebody who okay.
I like John Mulaney.
Yeah.
And this isn't John Mulaney's fault, but the only time I'm, we all have our moments. Like sometimes it gets frustrating where somebody's like, "I love comedy," and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's awesome. Who do you know?" John Mulaney. All right, who else? And that's it.
Oh,
Then
gotcha.
it's like, so John Mulaney is like
commercially successful.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And so John's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just
And Seinfeld considered a great comic or considered
Oh,
a
like-
great TV show?
can sit both.
Both.
Like
Yeah,
one of the
amazing,
best to
right?
ever do it. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw him in Baltimore.
Really?
Many
How
years
was
ago.
that?
Yeah. Great. And I was expecting so little. Because it was after
Why?
because it was after the TV show.
Okay.
Right? So he had retired. He had made, lots
Buco
of
money,
And then he was getting back out on the road because he missed. I think it's like a drug, right? He missed.
Yeah.
He missed doing it. He missed being out on the road, and loved the show. I loved the little stand-up things that he did before the show, but I had never seen him do stand-up. And also, you know how there's like laugh out loud people, and then there's like laugh inside people. Like I'm like a laugh inside person.
Yeah.
Like I think it's funny, but like I'm not like somebody says something and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard, right? I mean, was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Good.
It hurt. He was so good.
Awesome.
He was so good.
I love comics that can make me do that. Like just
Yeah.
a good belly laugh.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
The one who gets me the most, because again, it's hard for me to do that now because Brian Regan.
Oh,
Okay.
Brian Regan's one of my. He
Brian
was the
Regan.
first
Right.
stand-up I ever went to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta check that out.
They're
He's a good guy.
There are comics that I really love, but it's like I know what they're doing, or I can see the joke coming, or it's just not that I would write or think the way they think, but I just know what it is, And Brian Regan is one of those ones where I listen to it, I'm like, I'll never be that good. Like that's just so. He's so different and good. Where it's
He's really quirky and.
Do you know Stavros?
No.
Oh, okay. So Stavros is a Baltimore comic. Has
Okay.
Netflix specials. He had a movie come out on Hulu called Let's Start a Cult.
Okay.
Shops at Charm City.
Look him
love
up.
it.
Look him up in the
That's
Rex report.
awesome. That is awesome. I love hearing
I
that.
think it was the Fells
So
Point
great.
store. So yeah.
Alright, I'll check
Do you
him
know
out.
he's been on the Stephen Colbert's nighttime show?
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding
How
me?
did you
Yeah.
fall into that?
Yeah.
Like,
how did
how
you
did that
earn that?
happen?
Not fall. How
Yeah.
did you earn that
Yeah.
opportunity?
How did that happen?
I feel uncomfortable right now.
You gotta-
I don't
you
like
gotta-
do that. I don't like.
You don't like to do that? Okay.
I just want people to come in and laugh, but come to the show and laugh. Don't articulate and laugh. Sorry. Sorry.
Please don't do that.
Oh my,
Yeah.
oh my.
Do one or the other.
What-
But don't do both.
My manager's listening to this right now, going, Jesus Christ!
I thought you
Never
didn't have a
booking this
manager.
guy.
Is that
Yeah.
you?
again.
What?
I thought you didn't have a manager.
I know, right?
Oh, the manager in your real life job, your other job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Although she's told me that,
That
she
was-
doesn't watch these.
That's good.
So you're
Yeah, don't watch
safe from
them.
that.
Shut it off. So I worked there as an intern. And after the show I would go and do stand up in New York clubs, and I think they knew that, and so they put me up and let me play some characters. So like I would improv with Steven at the end of the show, and played a couple characters. Yeah.
What's he like?
It's this nicest man.
Wow.
Nicest,
that. I love hearing that.
kindest
Seems
guy.
like it, yeah.
Everybody there was very, very nice. I mean, he certainly has his point of view, and I don't, funny, not funny, whatever it is, I don't care. They were all wonderfully nice people. The band, the most talented group of musicians.
Yeah.
John Baptiste at the time, he's not there anymore, but he led the band. A lot of them are still there. Like Lewis is in charge now, I believe, but he was like the main guitarist there at the time, and Joe Saylor, the drummer. I mean, just I've never seen. I mean, it's not like I'm around musicians all the time, but they would just hear a song, no sheet music, no anything. They just play it right there.
Amazing.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, and they were all very, very nice people. So, yeah.
The bit that you showed me that you and Colbert, doing the thing with one another, he was a paper boy. right? So he's dressed up as like, the 1920s, on the corner paper boy, but he was the fake news boy.
Because it was right at the height of fake news, and that was the first time it was like a thing.
Okay.
And
I love it.
So he catches Colbert off guard with the.
And is that
fake news
available for
boy.
public consumption?
It's on his
If you
phone.
looked it up,
Take
would
his
you
phone.
find-
you
Yeah.
can find it. I'll show you it after the show. It's not like it's like, it's not 10 minutes. It's like a minute, 30 seconds.
I thought it
But
was pretty funny though.
still,
cool.
credit's a credit.
right. You got to take it.
Yeah.
Put it on the resume, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But back to you, my man.
All right.
So, and I gotta pee really bad. So
do
but
I.
we'll. Oh, do you want to just take a break? We'll go to the bathroom, come back.
Sure.
All right. Does that work for you?
Go for it.
Is that cool, Nelson? All right.
We've done it before.
Ooh, I regret saying that thing. I said that, now I'm like, yeah, it's too far.
You cut it out or not?
Yeah.
I appreciate you not being offended. As I said it, I'm like, there goes the running career.
Let me try to go.
And we're back.
We were
oh,
talking
man.
about tariffs.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, but the funny thing is, I was just checking the Caps game because Caps have a
How's it going?
they're losing right now. It's in the it's 4-2 in the second. It's tough. It's tough. They'll come back. They'll come back.
Yeah, you have
in
to
the
get back
third,
out there. Like we got to end this so you can
come
watch
back.
again.
They'll come back.
Yeah,
Turn around,
I'm not I'm not a sports guy at all. Are you guys watching the Super Bowl tonight?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
totally.
All right.
Super Bowl.
So my wife's from Philly, and we don't care about, but I think we're gonna watch because we're like, I mean, the Eagles are there. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty rad. I don't have a team. I don't care. I don't know anything about football, but I'm gonna support the Eagles just because I know for a fact that whether they win or lose, the people there supporting the Eagles are going to burn New Orleans to the ground.
Yeah.
So this is the last time we're gonna get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have I have a parlay right now with my father-in-law. My parlay is the Chiefs are going to be down at the half.
Okay.
Kelsey is going to give an inspirational speech in the locker room.
Tough to prove.
They're going to come back.
Okay.
The Chiefs.
Tough to prove.
Lost me there. Unless you got a
Chiefs are-
camera in there.
The Chiefs are going to win. They're going to come back to win. Travis Kelsey's going to be named MVP, and then he's going to propose to T Swift.
Wow.
Guaranteed happening.
That's my parlay.
Yeah.
That's the parlay I got going on right now. with my
What odds
father-in-law.
did you get? Because you got a lot of things
There's a
going
lot
on
of-
there. Like that is a tiny lane to travel.
The winner gets a dinner. What is it? A ribeye steak dinner for one.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
our is the bet,
low risk. That's good. I'm never giving you my money to invest in because Jesus Christ.
DraftKings is sounding great right now.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I don't bet. Yeah, I'm not a gambler or anything. I like to
Yeah.
do funny things like that with folks.
That's fun.
It's like, I'll bet you a
Little
steak
interest
dinner.
in the game.
You know?
Yeah.
A little skin in the game.
all right. I got a couple charm questions.
Okay.
Then I got
Okay,
a
I'm
couple
ready.
fun. Jesus Christ.
Charm and farm.
Charm and farm. Yeah. I got a couple charm questions and I have a couple fun questions, and then we'll end this and go to lunch.
Shoot.
So, right, you were talking about when you were working in Baltimore, it was one store. Your mom's coming in buying stuff.
Yeah.
Beautiful story. That's so sweet. At what point did you go, okay, we're going to open a second store. Okay, we're going to open a third store. We're going to open a fourth. Like, when did
Yeah.
it start to really become all that it is? Because just for context, for people maybe not understanding, like, you are, like, one of the biggest, most successful run specialty stores in the country. Like, it's incredible what you've built.
Thank you.
So, right? Like,
Yeah,
no
appreciate
problem.
that.
But, like, one store, how did it become
Right.
that?
It's interesting. I mean, the growth was very organic. And when people ask, like, what did you think when you started? What did you think it would be? Right? It is a complicated question for me to answer,
Right.
because on one hand, I think Karen and I were, we had this baby boy. He needed to be fed and probably needed some clothes as well. Right?
Probably.
So the goal was, can we make one work? Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And we were unsure for a while. I mean, I think that I always thought it would work, but I think she was unsure. And I think I also used to come home and say, we're going down. Like, we are going down. We are going down hard. You
I
know what I
sold
mean?
only a pair of shoelaces today.
Right. But then the other thing is that, I'm an intense person. I'm a competitive person. And I decided to do this with my life, with our lives. So I think there was also this piece of, I'm going to take this as far as it can go.
Right. That's awesome.
But we want to be the best, not the biggest.
Right.
You know, we want to be meaningful in the community. We want to, you know, we want to change people's lives. It's not all about like how big can we get.
Yeah.
You
It has
know?
to be sustainable, scaled growth.
Yes.
You know?
And I think our expansion was very people driven because as you guys both know, the person in the store when a guest walks in is the most valuable asset you can have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good product, but there's also a lot of places you can get it.
For sure.
And there's ways to make that product look good. You know, there's ways to measure people correctly. There's ways to do value added sales, but that person is the most important thing bar none. And so we've never expanded without that person.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We've never looked at an area and been like, hey, let's just go there because of demographics, because of, you know, household income or things like that. It's always been, do we have the leader who can do it?
Totally.
You know?
That's awesome.
And so we had, and going from number one to number two is the hardest thing to do because you've lost control,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Yep.
So 6 to 7 is not nearly as hard as 1 to 2. 1 to 2 is the hardest thing any business will do, not just run specialty, right? And so our first manager was from Harford County,
Okay.
was from the Bel Air area. She ran at Falston. And we had people from Bel Air, not because of her, but we had people coming into the Timonium store from Bel Air all the time. When are you going to open in Bel Air? When are you going to open in Bel Air? When are you going to open in Bel Air? And we had this manager who was from there.
Yeah.
So we thought, oh, that makes sense. Let's open in Bel Air.
Yeah.
So that's when we decided to go to number 2. And funny enough, we were getting close. And she said, hey, I'm moving out to Colorado.
No.
Because she was a competitive runner.
Oh,
And her
okay.
boyfriend at the time was a real competitive runner. And so he wanted to try to make the trials,
Yeah.
try to qualify for the marathon
That's the
and
place to
run.
be.
So they moved to Boulder.
Yeah.
And, they had a great young adult life, but she left me hanging a little bit. And our friend Brian Nasuda was a senior at Towson, and he'd been working at the store a while, and he was going to go into business. And I took him out for wings and beer. Right?
I got a great proposition for you.
Absolutely. I mean, once you have wings and beer, you can convince
Yeah.
anybody of anything.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, he was a smart guy, and I'm sure he had a lot of opportunities. And I was like, this is what you want to do, and it's going to work. And of course, I didn't know it was going to work. And it was very tough at the beginning. But I have a lot of love and thanks that went to the Toms, the Bryans, the Lisas, the folks that have been with me 20 years who built Charm City Run.
Yeah.
In,
It's exactly like the thing that I've learned, being in the run specialty industry of like, you need the 2 P's. Like everybody needs the 2 P's to be successful, and that's product and people. Like you can't have one or the other and be successful. You got to have like both. And like, yeah, just like having the right people, like it makes the world a difference.
Right.
And
I guess the third P would be passion, but that comes with the people, right?
Yeah.
And you got to love what you do. You got to, you can't be fake, but you have to be excited. You have to believe in what you're doing.
Right.
I don't think it's sales. I've
No.
never thought of it as sales. I mean, I'm talking to you about something I love to do.
Oh yeah. Like I know that you're injured. I know that you're hurt, and I'm not a doctor, but like I know of a whole suite of products that could possibly help you out that your doctor is wanting you to recommend for you.
Anytime I've worked for luckily not at my current place, they're wonderful, but anytime I've worked for somebody just in my career, if the person that's like my manager says something like, this data, this number, you got to hit this, or you can't be talking about this, or this because of who you are. Like, I'm just like, it's out because I
Right.
can't, like, you have to be authentic. You have to be yourself. But you also, like, if you're caring more about that number than you are helping the person in front of you, or like pushing a product instead of helping that person in front of you, like, get out of here.
Right.
That's not what this industry is. Go work in pharmaceuticals. You'll do great there.
Right.
Don't be here.
Right.
We don't need that.
Nope.
Right. And I would say a lot of pharmaceutical reps, they don't love drugs. I mean, necessarily.
I don't know. I don't know
Right?
any.
They like recreational drugs, right? But I mean, the scorecard is different.
Yeah.
They're accomplishing a task for payment, for value,
Right.
right? And a lot of jobs are like that, and that's fine.
They're like, this bill got my grandma addicted to OxyContin. You'll love it.
And we're back to the dark.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you gonna wrap serial killers back in again? Yeah. But it's wonderful to be in something that you truly love, and I think, I think unfortunately not everybody gets to work in something that they love.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I think some people don't even know what they love. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, cool. So people, that's kind of how it expanded. I am curious because I think it's, not every run specialty place does this. You have a whole training team. You're putting on races as well for the community. Again, like that, in some ways that excites me more than the retail aspect of it. When did that happen? Like, what made you guys want to start doing that, right? Because, again, not everybody does. It's not like a requirement for the business, but it does help for sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
For me, again, it was like experience and then organic. So what happened is when I was working at Runtex, my entry into Runtex was the training program, right?
Okay.
I ran a marathon with Kara. It went terrible. I was wearing the lacrosse shorts in Texas. I didn't know anything about hydration and nutrition. And I finished, and Kara said, "We're never doing that again," like Disney World. And I said, "I want to do it again. I want to do it right." And for Valentine's Day one year, she got me a training program.
Nice.
And
Like with a coach and
so with a coach, with other people like Charm
yeah.
City Run does, like Pacers does, like Potomac, all these people who are doing training programs, right? So that was my entry into run specialty, right? Was that, and they were giving out water on the trail, so they were always helping the community.
that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was special, and those people were passionate about the store, and they were loyal to the store, and also they brought energy to the store.
Nice.
When the store opened, you had a bunch of people sitting in there that were sweaty talking about running. That was powerful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For
right?
sure.
And they also had a great event business. Paul Carrozza from Runtex, he was so creative. I mean, we would do night races, and he'd have Willie Nelson, he'd have Lance Armstrong, he'd have food trucks before there were food trucks, and you'd get tickets. And I mean, he brought people together. And I'm not sure if I knew the words, but it was powerful.
Nice.
Exercising, having a great time.
I'm getting hyped.
Listening to music, right? And so then we're getting ready to open the store. We've got a ton on our plate. 9/11 happened.
Oi.
We're back east.
Mm-hmm.
People are watching TV. I was like, I can't watch TV. So I got to the beach. And there's fighter jets patrolling the beach, and I'm all alone. Really eerie, right?
Yeah.
And
You're like, I'm just enjoying the waves.
so I had this thought. It's probably the last good idea I had. I thought, we're going to bring people together on 9/11. We're going to do a race in Baltimore on 9/11.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
And we're going to do it on the day.
Yeah.
Because 9/11 wasn't convenient.
Yeah.
It's going to be when it is.
Right.
And so the next year on Wednesday morning, we put on a race in downtown Baltimore. And we had 3,000 people. We raised $250,000 for first responders. It was amazing. And when I went to the city and told them what I wanted to do, they said, I hope you're working with Dave Cooley, who was the event director for all the races in Baltimore.
Okay.
And I said, of course I am. And then I had to call Dave Cooley and ask him if he would do this race, right? 20 seconds of courage, right? A little lie, not great on the integrity scale.
Yeah, but
I said, of course I am. And I had met him when we were doing our market research, but I didn't know him.
Okay.
We became fast friends. It was a second career for him. We bought his business, and we had Charm City Run event.
That's awesome. All right,
That's
right on. Did he stay on and like?
He did.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he stayed on until he retired when he was approaching 80. And
Wow.
it,
Okay.
know,
So
awesome.
so that's
yeah.
because I always wonder, like, even the stuff I was sharing about earlier, like creating events from nothing, and like how you guys went it. So you kind of had like a guidance there because you
An
had
advisor,
basically
if you
bought.
will.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So we
okay.
had a
That's
stable of events that we managed,
Yeah.
and we had a few that we created, and we went on to create more.
Oh,
And I
that's
think
awesome.
the big change since he was doing it is that he was event directors are crazy, and he wanted to control everything. And so we were managing, by the time the height of the managed races, we were at the height of the managed races, we were doing 100 a year plus ours.
That's a lot.
So Will has made the strategic decision to, Will Murdoch, our events leader, he has made the strategic division, like, we have to invest in ourselves. If we want our races to be wonderful and great and our details buttoned down and that kind of thing, we need to say no to some clients, which is a really hard thing to do, but it takes courage. So we're managing less and putting more of our energy into our own events.
Right. That's awesome. It's just such an awesome loop too, both for the community, but for your business too, where it's like 3 loops just feeding into one another. Like it's
100%.
It's awesome because
and we tell our employees, like, look, if you haven't been to a Charm City Run race, you're missing a piece of the puzzle.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like, it's super important to be a part of that community, you know, and you see all the same people that are coming through the store.
And I think after COVID, we put words to it, but we knew it was important before COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, once like the Brene Browns and all these folks were like, you know what you need to do? You need to go to a sporting event. You need to go to a rock concert.
Yeah.
Well, we're a rock concert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We bring people together from all different walks of life that are there to do something positive together. And who knows, you may get in a conversation with somebody that you never would have talked to before, and you may learn something about them.
I tell you, the finish line of that Charles Street 12 or even the end of the Baltimore Marathon, that is a rock concert.
Right. Yeah. And it's still meaningful to me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's still meaningful to me. When I'm in the starting line of our Shamrock race and, historic downtown Baltimore and, really narrow streets, and as far as the eye could see, there are people wearing green, like all the way to the Basilica up the hill. I mean, blocks and blocks of city blocks, and the music's going and they're getting ready to start. I mean, my heart, it's doing that. It's powerful.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know?
man. Oh, I'm getting hyped.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love this world, man. It's just what a fun journey. All right. Well, I'm gonna get into a couple lightning round questions. Nothing to do with running. We can get in as much depth or just quick pass them by if you want to. All right. Does that sound good? Does that sound good?
Lighting around.
All right. First question. Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
All right.
There has to be life out there.
Awesome.
Some kind.
Cool. If I'm very into this topic, if we go down the rabbit hole, we'll be here forever. So we'll just move on.
I heard one of your previous episodes, and I would have nothing to add to your depth. So I'm glad we're moving on.
Okay, good. Good deal.
We were talking about people and events.
Sarah Gam?
Chris Farley.
Oh, okay, Farley.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he punched out. He was like, it got to a point where he was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, my man. Like, I love you. Because he loves everybody.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's the best.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can't add anything to the conversation. You got to stop.
You should check out the Sarah Gam episode.
Okay.
So she's worked on the UAP, unidentified, Jesus Christ.
UFOs.
Yeah, she worked on the UFO task force. UAPs is its new name. But that was really, if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll keep going.
Okay.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Spirits?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think there's something. I don't know. I'd like to think that like my kids, like I'll be able to see them, be present in some weird way. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I love it.
I believe. If I believe that doing the right thing matters, then I believe that yes, we're around.
Okay.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What do you think happens when we die?
Oof. I think that this kind of contradicts my last answer. I think that sort of nothing happens.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It really does contradict.
I mean, I think that my wife's famous thing is she's just like, I want to be cremated. I want to be cremated. And I'm like, I got it.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me 20 times. Like, it's not something you forget. Like, did you remember the groceries? And by the way,
don't forget to cremate.
Don't forget to cremate.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got it. I got it.
You kiss her goodnight, and she's like, and remember, I want to be reduced to a pile of ash.
I think our soul, spirit kind of lit, but materially, nothing happens.
Okay.
Very confusing. They're confusing questions, confusing answers.
All right. Ken and I are standing on an edge of a cliff.
Oh, boy.
You have to push one of us. Who do you murder?
Can we hold hands and do it together?
Oh, Jesus. All right. That. I'll give you the out. That was the safest out you could get.
Maybe you. I've known Ken for longer.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say.
And I've known Victoria.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
I got you. I'm going to go
Yeah.
cry in the back about something else.
I mean, you're
no, for
you
honestly,
seem like a wonderful person.
I'm all right. I'm
but
mediocre
I do
at
think
best.
tenure
Seem
matters.
like.
It fully does. I
Near
was actually
serve
going to
matters.
suggest you've known
Okay.
him a lot longer.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But if I'm about to do it and you told me he was a serial killer,
oh, he
then-
fully is.
okay,
Do you not know this?
Well, then I would
Look at the mustache, man.
That it's a 2-for-1. I save you and I get rid of a serial
He
killer.
for sure has an ice cream truck. I'm sorry.
Like you're discriminating against mustache
I know.
No,
right?
just his particular.
because the way it came out, or because you know
right?
him. What is it about his mustache?
What do you
don't know.
have against small business and a food truck? You know?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. Anytime you see a windowless ice cream truck, you think to
Yeah.
yourself, there goes a small business owner.
And they're everywhere.
They are.
Isn't it amazing?
and
They're everywhere.
all over the
everywhere.
place.
Yeah, like our street in the summer. Like, sure
Yeah.
enough, ice
Can't
cream
wait-
man.
Can't
Yeah.
wait till it gets warmer outside.
Yeah. Oh, wait, are we actually talking about ice cream now?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just like now I'm actually like, all right. Well,
Okay, ice cream or chocolate?
Ice cream.
so I've
Uh-oh.
yeah, like, this is complicated. Normally, I'd say ice cream. I've had to completely change my diet because I'm on the fast track to heart disease.
Really? How could you be on the fast track to heart disease?
Is it genetics? I don't
Yeah,
know. So
genetics,
my
yeah.
father's side, my mother's side is awful. I've been having to do like lots of doctor's tests. My heart's healthy, but my vitals are dog shit. So
Really?
I've been
Golly.
vegan plus fish for getting close to a month now, and
I believe my nerdy son told me that's pescatarian.
I don't know
No.
because
Okay.
that pescatarian would
Fish.
include dairy.
Oh, got it. Got it. Right.
And I haven't done dairy. It's and I also have a horrible sweet tooth and like, but I'm doing my best. So yeah, we'll see.
So you could do dark chocolate.
I could do
Just not
I
milk
the
chocolate.
main thing is like I'm not like very intense with it, but
Uh-huh.
basically I'm like I avoid dairy the best I can. Now I don't do meat. I don't do sweets. I'll do sweets if it's like no cholesterol. Whatever
Okay.
the saturated fat is, I'm not as concerned because I am active.
Right.
But the cholesterol has to basically be 0 at this point now. I will not really consume any dairy.
no eggs.
No eggs. Nope. That's out now for me too.
Well, I
It's
mean,
my
like,
diet, is
I can't
eggs.
afford eggs at this point right now, but
Oh.
you know, like,
What?
is
How
what
much
it
have they
is.
gone up?
I feel like they're $10 or something for a dozen right now, but
Hmm.
they're not. They're not really, but they're pretty expensive comparatively what they used to be.
There's like an egg shortage.
yeah, it's
We're
like
so spoiled in this country.
100,000.
Like to go to
of
the
them got
grocery store and be like,
stolen.
no eggs. It's like that's the craziest thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
Yeah. You know, we normally, I shouldn't even bring this up because it's going to go nowhere. We normally do a segment on this show. Not normally, sometimes I'll do like Joke of the Week where I'll just take 3 topical things. I'll write some headlines.
Very cool.
I was doing that this morning, but I didn't have enough time. But the one that I had was, this is it. And it's not that funny of a joke. Again, my stand up is better. This is just crap. It's not worked out at all. A heist of 100,000 eggs in Pennsylvania have police baffled. It's true. They can't find who it is. What's even worse is this was from a fertility clinic. So that's what I'm saying. It's not that good of a joke, but that's
It's
yeah.
not terrible.
It's
If,
not.
if that's your terrible, you're
That's
pretty
terrible.
good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Okay, that's
fully
terrible.
acknowledged
Okay.
terrible. Yeah.
That's a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
well,
1
yeah.
for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
All
One
right.
of my
Can't wait to see more.
favorite stand-up jokes of yours
Yeah.
is the one where you're talking about you're working at Disney. People are like expressing how they're having a terrible vacation because they are waiting in line for a ride.
Oh, yeah.
And you're relating it to like the Titanic sinking, being like, "Oh, at least I'm not waiting in line."
Yeah.
Like,
How about we'll end on that joke because I don't really do that in my act anymore. So we'll end on that and then we'll do promos and then we'll go. So the actual joke is we're at Disney. I thought working at Disney World was going to be cool, and then I met the people that vacationed at Disney World, and it was not cool. One time a grown man was like, "The line was too long, and now my vacation is ruined." It's like a long line is not a ruined vacation. The Titanic was a ruined vacation. I'm pretty sure anybody going down on the Titanic wasn't like, at least we're not f***ing waiting in line. All right. Well, on that note, it does better
Nelson,
when there's
and
a
he's been
crowd.
around.
Yeah. What?
You got Nelson. He's been around.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to promote yourself, your business, you're going to look right at that camera, my man.
Check out charmcityrun.com. Thanks for listening.
All right. Ken, do you have anything?
CharmCityRun.com.
All right. Well, charmcityrun.com. You can check out the Laugh and Run podcast on Instagram. We have clips on TikTok, Instagram. Check the full show out on YouTube and Spotify. And for show dates, I am on tour this year. The Laugh and Run show, we are doing a free all paces welcome group run before the show, partnering with major running communities in whatever city I'm in. And then followed by the show headlining. It's a lot of fun. I think this date will be passed when this comes out, but March 2nd, I will be in Portland, Maine. March 13th, Grand Rapids, Michigan. March 27th, New York City. A bunch of more dates to follow, but we'll leave that for future episodes. All right. Well, all the love. Nelson, you. And we'll see you later. No, I love you, Nelson. Don't. Nelson's like, oh, really? Me? Fate is over.
Delete.
Find a new place. All right. Thanks, man. Dude, all the love.
He always hits me at the end here of like, do you want to promote your socials? And I don't know what my socials are.
Yeah.